They are a prison.
We happy?
Help me find the Originator.
Vincent! We happy?
Yeah, we happy.
Holy! We have finally made it, guys. It's been a long time coming, almost 11 months of waiting, and now we are finally getting a new update for Path of Exile 1, which has been confirmed now to be launching on June 13th, as we expected. But this is not just any update. No, this is all but confirmed at this point to be an Atlas expansion. A week back, I discussed why I thought an Atlas expansion was on the cards for 3.26. And it looks like that is actually what's going to be happening. I am so hyped to just log into PoE1 to blast some PoE1. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on the short name reveal teaser that we got yesterday in regards to what I think we might see in 3.26. And also, I'll be going through some of the past precedent for these types of updates and discussing a few things that we might expect come June 13th. So, let's get straight into it by watching this mini teaser. The actual meat of this video is only about 15 seconds long, so here we go.
These worlds are endless. And yet, they are a prison. Help me find the Originator.
Okay, so immediately, no Zana, but there are a bunch of Zana references in there. And this appears to be a new NPC talking to us. I don't believe we've heard this voice before. And based on what he is saying, he seems to be quite knowledgeable about the Atlas. He says the worlds are endless, but they are a prison. Maybe he's speaking from past experience here, or perhaps he's seen what the Atlas can do to someone. And before we get on to what else he has to say and the other references that's made in this teaser, I just want to discuss this character a bit more. This guy sounds quite similar to High Templar Venarius.
And yet, they are a prison.
The other man is Valdo Caesarius.
Venarius' story is interwoven with the Atlas, and his involvement in an update titled Secrets of the Atlas wouldn't be much of a surprise to me. So perhaps this new character is a version of Venarius, possibly a younger Venarius, or even something to do with an alternate timeline. They've already played around with that concept before in Scourge League with the Last to Die, who appeared to be Alva from a different timeline. So we may see something like that. And there's also the existence of Path of Exile Mobile, which we haven't heard anything about in a very long time. But originally, the game was going to have its own campaign that was set 20 years prior to the Path of Exile 1 campaign, featuring a younger Venarius and of course Valdo, better known as the Shaper, long before he actually became the Shaper. But this guy does actually look somewhat similar to these characters, but the darkness kind of obscures his features a bit too much, so it's hard to say anything for sure. Now, something else to mention about this opening sequence here, with the guy walking along, is how similar it feels to the War for the Atlas trailer, which has the Shaper walking through various areas of the Atlas, and they all feel very empty and hollow, which kind of lines up with this character's conclusion that the worlds in the Atlas are a prison. And there's also the music. Perhaps you noticed it, perhaps you didn't, but this score that's being used in the Secrets of the Atlas teaser is a new track. We had that confirmed by Camille on Twitter. So this is new music, and yet it is so incredibly similar to the Shaper's theme. Listen to this. And that may be a bit of foreshadowing for something to do with the Shaper. But what if it's actually all about Zana now? What if Zana has gone down a similar road as her father before her? We get a bunch of Zana references in this teaser, but no mention of her by name. Firstly, we have these red petals all over the floor under what might be some kind of portal to a different realm, or more likely, I think this is almost a diagram of the Atlas. You can see all of these threads like branches of a tree, or the roots of a tree, and they're all connected in the middle but still distinctly separate. And right in the middle there is this red hue, which you can also see as this character creates this thing, this red portion in the middle. Now there's more of that on the ground too, this compass style iconography on the ground, which immediately made me think of synthesis maps and synthesis boss arenas. I'm getting a lot of synthesis vibes from this trailer in general. And I knew I wasn't just imagining it, because this is extremely similar, if not exactly the same as the floor design that we see Venarius standing on in the synthesis trailer right here. With the red area in the middle, I wonder if that in itself is foreshadowing. Is Zana the Originator? Is she somehow the heart of the Atlas, right at the center? We've never really known enough about Zana, about her powers, about why she doesn't seem to go insane in the Atlas like everybody else does. She always has been a little bit too mysterious for my liking. And then we have this red petal falling down here. This makes me think of a penny dropping, something big is being revealed here. And then we also have these red petals exploding from the word secrets, likely another reference to Zana hiding something from us. And then something I noticed here is the way the music kind of combines with the imagery on the screen to remove all of the red petals and replace them with this blue, ethereal looking thing. And we have this same kind of stuff going on in the logo itself, where half is red and the other half is blue. And I wonder if the blue represents this new character that we're seeing here, this new voice in the teaser, while the red represents Zana. In that case, who is the bad guy really? Are we going to be led to believe that Zana is bad, only to be betrayed by this new character perhaps? Also, if we zoom in on the secrets of the Atlas logo, there's this Atlas imagery on the red portion, which is interesting. I think Zana may end up being a bit more important to the Atlas than we first knew. Another thing to notice on the logo is this icon here. Now this reminds me of the icons on the map device that you can use to pursue a particular influence, like the Maven or the Eater of Worlds. So perhaps this will be a new influence that we can pursue to ultimately reach a new pinnacle boss fight. And that's the teaser. Awesome teaser. Really cool music as well. I can't wait to hear the full track. And at the end, we get the confirmed dates. June 5th for the reveal livestream. GGG live with Mark and Jonathan. And I believe Ziggy is going to be there too for an interview after the stream. And then June 13th for the full launch. Now, what about what we can expect for this update, especially with it seemingly being an Atlas expansion? The past precedent for Atlas expansions is that these are typically very large updates that contain two major components rather than one. Usually, you get an update that contains a new challenge league along with, skill balance, quality of life, and that kind of stuff. But for past Atlas expansions, we've had the Atlas expansion portion of the update, which is usually comprised of very large sweeping changes to the endgame Atlas progression and one or more new pinnacle bosses. And then also the Challenge League alongside it, which in the past has been a simpler Challenge League whenever it comes alongside an Atlas expansion. Think of Ritual whenever the Maven came along in 3.13, or Arch Nemesis League in 3.17. And then you also get the normal skill balance and quality of life stuff there too. Now, as of right now, we don't know anything about the Challenge League for 3.26, but for 3.17, they did a Challenge League name reveal 1 week after the expansion name reveal, so I expect we'll get that teaser next week, about 1 week before the livestream. However, I want to take a moment to discuss what an Atlas expansion can mean for Path of Exile 1. As I said before, these are usually huge changes to Atlas progression. For example, in 3.13 we had the first iteration of Atlas passive skill trees, which initially were small trees for each Atlas region. Then in 3.17, the regions of the Atlas were done away with, which I think overall was a very positive change, and the huge Atlas tree that we've now all come to love was first introduced to allow you to have agency over all of your maps that you're running, no matter where on the Atlas they are. So what could 3.26 do to the Atlas? I'll be honest here, I'm a bit concerned about this, simply because of how good the Atlas is right now. I love the Atlas tree, I believe it's the single greatest addition in the history of Path of Exile 1. However, with that said, in the past, whenever I've thought that something is great and it can't be improved, GGG has consistently proven me wrong by making adjustments and improvements to systems that I didn't even think could be improved upon. So I have faith that I'll be proven wrong again here, and they'll find a way to somehow massively improve the current Atlas. One thing I do expect though is a new pinnacle boss. I'm not convinced that we'll get multiple bosses like we did in 3.17, but if we get one boss on the same sort of scale as the Maven, I'd be very happy with that. And for the Challenge League, that could be anything really, as long as it's not something like Necropolis, and really I don't think it will be because I expect quite a simple league mechanic, nothing too in-depth. Then lastly, we have the patch itself. Please let there be a big meta shakeup. I hope there's a big skill balance pass in this patch. That's probably the thing I want the most before any kind of new content additions or anything like that. Simple skill balance. Bring up the bad stuff, nerf the good stuff. And that's pretty much it. My thoughts on the Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas name reveal teaser. Not long now, guys. We're 3 weeks away from launch. Less than 2 weeks from the live stream. It's actually happening. This is not a drill. Prepare to log in to Path of Exile 1. Thanks for watching this video, and as always, stay tuned and stay safe.